So I got a chance to drive Toyota Yaris hybrid on the roads of Spain for 5 days, and I decided during these 5 days to get acquainted closer with the car, to try to assess if it is credible to have a hybrid engine in such a small car, and try to assess if it's suitable for the city roads as well as for the highways, which is more important. And during these 5 days we will drive for at least a few hundred kilometers, and that gives us good chances to assess the car, to make some conclusions. Well, in its front, car resembles very much one of the latest Lexus models, and it looks quite cool. But immediately when you get to the rear side, it becomes clear that it's much smaller and not pretentious at all.
Surprisingly, the most interesting part of this car is its petrol engine. And the thing here is that this petrol engine works with the so-called Atkinson cycle. The Atkinson cycle was actually invented yet in 19th century, and it features a very complicated and sophisticated crankshaft mechanism. This crankshaft mechanism is engineered in such a way that the intake stroke is actually much shorter than the working stroke, and that makes the usage of the expansion of the gases much more efficient compared to the conventional Otto cycle. Atkinson engine proved itself to be something like 10% more efficient compared to the conventional Otto engine. However, it didn't achieve any commercial success because of its sophisticated engineering structure. But in 1947, the American engineer Miller suggested an alternative idea concerning the Atkinson cycle. Well, Miller's engine used conventional crankshaft setup, but instead quite different valve timing. In the usual Otto cycle, the piston goes down at the intake stroke, then it starts to go up, and right away the intake valve closes and the compression stroke starts. In the Miller cycle, the piston goes down, hits the lowest point, and starts to go up, and it goes like almost halfway up at the compression stroke, and only after that the intake valve closes. So in this scheme you actually get less fuel-air mixture in the engine, and the power stroke becomes efficiently longer than the intake stroke without using this very sophisticated crankshaft mechanism.
Now we are driving through one of these little Spanish towns, and this one's called Guadarrama. So I have here little pretty houses, little pretty cafes, and beautiful scenery. But the most interesting thing here is this high fence at the sides of the street. So as far as I understood, what they do is they let bulls or cows run through the street, and they also let people run through the same street trying to escape these beasts. Okay, and finally they kind of make fun out of that.
One of the disadvantages of the Atkinson engine is its unstable work at low RPM. So the most proper usage of this kind of engines is indeed as a part of a hybrid. When you start your movement with electricity and then continue with engine, and it doesn't have to work at low RPM at all.
As usual for hybrids, when you push to the floor, the energy comes simultaneously from the engine and from the battery. And you can see that right now at the energy monitor at the dashboard. So acceleration is very nice before 60 and starts to decrease after 60, but overall between 0 and 100 it's something like 12 seconds, just as promised by the manufacturer. By the way, the car is very quiet in the whole range of legal velocities, so I enjoyed very much its comfort.
Toyota claimed for this car the level of fuel consumption. It's about 3.5 liter per 100 kilometers. Well, I think this is impossible to achieve in the real conditions. Even if I put all my efforts to spare fuel, I get something like 4 liter per 100 kilometers. And if I do more or less active driving, I get 5 or even 5.5.
The main battery is situated right here under the rear seat, which is, to my opinion, is quite clever because it doesn't take up any useful room of the inside of the car. But the capacity of this battery is not very high. You can probably get something like 5 kilometers on the pure electric power, and then the engine has to start.
When you go uphill in this car, you actually very much want to say the Spanish words of Speedy Gonzales, andele, andele, ale, 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 arriba, arriba, because it's quite not enough torque to go up the hill in this car. The engine is not very powerful. It's not powerful enough. And when you want to accelerate, you have to press the pedal to the floor and it starts to rev. And you obviously cannot do it all the time because the battery is just discharging when going up the hill, and eventually you're left with some limited amount of power.
Why don't leave me all by myself? Why don't leave me all by myself? Good times together, I'm a prisoner. Good times together, I'm the prisoner. I recently passed an IQ test, and as far as I remember I got something around 127. But I must say now this is a complete rubbish, because just now, 3 kilometers away, I put a diesel into a petrol car. Oh my god, this is unbelievable, because in Spanish it said gasolino, gasolino, gasolino diesel, and I took gasolino and poured it into the car, and it appeared that one of the gasolines is in fact a diesel. Oh my god. So the ranks are the following: me, Forrest Gump, Albert Einstein, and the distance between me and Forrest is equal to the distance between Forrest and Albert. Oh, so I called the assistants, and I'm waiting for them right now. This is unbelievable. The whole stupidity of the universe just came into me. So I had to pay 300 euros for the repairment of the car, and the whole story ended. Well, okay, folks, you have to think before you do anything, otherwise the lesson will cost you.